Well, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to all of you who are joining me here on Facebook Live. I've been looking forward to this moment with you. I've been asking myself, when is Saturday coming so that I can spend some time with you to talk about the 3 requirements to embracing the voice of more in your life. I am recording this from the US. You guys are in the future, for those of you in Nairobi. And I'm here because I'm also responding to the voice of more in my life, embracing that voice. And I want to share those ideas with you. But very quickly, I know you guys are joining. Welcome. So glad to have you here. For those of you who probably have never interacted with me, your friend sent you this link. My name is Benjamin Kamoye, and I'm a leadership coach, speaker, and trainer. My message is really around reinvention. And what is reinvention? Reinvention is seeking the voice of more. It's changing who you are so that you can embrace those realities that you know could be possible for you. And that journey of reinvention requires that you master who you are and then manifest that which you are. And most importantly, monetize that which you are. So my journey with clients is really around helping them understand what is that value that they bring to the table and how do they use that value in such a way that it impacts the world and also brings a huge income to them. That is why I exist. That is what I do. And I've been very privileged and blessed to, have a coaching business that is, within the African region. And we're seeing opportunities now to do that in the Americas as well. Really blessed in that sense. Just working with teams, individuals, working with teams and really helping them, tap into their uniqueness, tap into their genius and bring that genius into the team, create collective intelligence that creates the outcomes that the organization is there and exists to do, to make happen. So thank you so much again for joining me. Excited that you are here with me. If you're just coming on, what I'd like for you to do is 2 things. 1, share this video. There is somebody that is probably at a point in their lives where they're saying, I don't know how I'm going to move next. I don't know how I'm going to take the next step. I sense very strongly that there is this idea that is coming to me, and they need to hear my voice this morning. They need to hear my voice. They need to hear my voice this afternoon. Whatever time you're watching this, make sure that you share this with them. One of the ideas that I've embraced is do not grow alone. Do not grow alone. You want to bring other people alongside you, like-minded people in your journey. Thank you so much. We're kind of buying time here just to get a couple of us joining. We're running onto the platform, and I just want to get started in a few minutes here. So the second thing that I wanted you to do is there's a link that's being shared right below in the comments section. That link gives you access to a workbook. Oh my! That workbook is loaded with insights. It's actually distilling a lot of what I'm going to share with you here today into practical action steps. I'm a coach, and so I approach life so much from the point of questioning, seeking to understand, observing. And so what you're going to find is I'm inviting you so much to reflect. As I talked about the 3 requirements very shortly, you will find that in this workbook, those 3 requirements have been presented to you as questions for you to reflect, for you to think through. How am I creating the results that I'm creating? What has me stuck in the spaces that I'm stuck in? And that is something that I want for you to click, get that link, and go in there, download the workbook. It probably is just going to be an email so that we can email it to you. You grab it and work on it. After this session, not through the session, after the session. I don't want you to be thinking about the questions. I want you to listen, tune in, and then go to the workbook. Is that good? Oh, good. Right on. So let's get started. The 3 requirements to embracing the voice of more in your life. This is a session that I've wanted to do for a while. And today is the moment that I felt ready and released to come and share this information with you. As I was reflecting on this session, one of the things that I became aware of is that there are close to 16 transition points in my life where I actually uttered these words. This is not my dream. This is not my dream. And I think about when I moved from being a salesman to being a personal assistant, the voice of more that said, this is not my dream, drove me in that direction. When I transitioned from being a personal assistant to a business owner, it is this voice of more that then said, this is not my dream, and I pursued it. It is the voice that also served me when I moved from being a business owner to begin to step into the coaching training space. That's the voice that served me and led me in that direction. When I was moving, in different spheres of my life, whether you want to talk about financially, spiritually, physical wellness, health and emotional wellness. And when you talk about relationships, this voice has continued to serve me and say, this is not my dream. And I never knew how to work with that voice. I never knew how to work with that voice. Matter of fact, I didn't know how to collaborate with it. What I did was I quarreled with it. And that's what I do not want for you. I don't want you to be the person that I was 5-10 years back, where I quarreled with this voice. I want you to be the person who embraces that voice and accelerates the journey towards becoming what that voice is saying in your life. So very quickly, let's get to the three requirements of embracing the voice of more in your life. The first one, and by the way, I have abbreviated this as AWE. AWE. O. That's the abbreviation. Just for you to quickly remember this. O. The first one is awareness. The first one is awareness. And if you're just joining right now and you probably have come on, what I love for you before we go too far is just go to the bottom, click that share button and share this link with somebody else. Don't grow alone. Let's maximize this learning because there's someone who needs to hear this voice. So the first requirement is awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness that this voice that comes to say, this is not my dream, that voice has come to serve you. That is huge. Just the awareness that this voice has come to serve you is a big requirement for you to embrace that voice of more in your life. You see, I remember at different transition points, those 16 even more transition points, the voice came and said, this is not my dream. At some point, I had a broom in my hand. I was washing the floors. I was washing the hall. That's the job that I had. That's the space that I was in. And the voice came when I'm in the middle of it and says, this is not my dream. And I said, what? What do you mean? I remember at this point when I looked at how much money I was earning. And I said, this is not my dream. It was $90 a month. And I said, this is not my dream. This is not my dream. But I was not aware that that voice had come to serve me. You see, think about this. Somebody rings the bell to your door. Ding dong. And then you go to the door and you open the door. What do you find there? It's probably the most unexpected person. What do you do? Welcome them in? Or say them, I don't know who you are. Close the door. You're a stranger. That's what I did with the voice of more in my life. Whenever it came and said, ding dong, you could be more, you could earn more, you could have a different life. This is not the space of income and impact in your life. I went to the door and I opened and I said, I don't completely recognize you. What are you telling me? To become a coach, a speaker, and a trainer? I don't recognize that. Look at my life. Right now I'm a janitor. Right now I'm a salesman. Right now I'm a personal assistant. Right now I'm earning this much. How do I do that? And I banged the door and I closed the door, and awareness was not present in my life that this stranger that was on my door, this voice, the voice of more, had come to serve me. So the first requirement is awareness. Awareness that this voice has come to serve you. I know you've heard it. You're probably in a space in your life where you're discontent with what other people love about your life. They're like, oh my goodness, I would give everything to have half your life. But in that space, Spirit is coming to you and saying, hey, that voice is coming and saying, be more, do more. This is not your dream. This is not your dream. What do? The first requirement is the awareness that this voice has come to serve you. Now, what is awareness? Awareness is knowing. Awareness is consciousness. It's a state of consciousness where you know. I don't want to get into the conversations of mental science here, and I don't want us to go down that road. But very quickly, you've heard this, that we have a conscious and a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind runs our lives. Now, let me give you a quick assignment on awareness, all right? Very quickly, I want to ask you this question. How many times have you blinked your eyes, blinking? How many times have you blinked since you started watching this recording? And how many times are you blinking now? You see? That idea that you've been blinking, you've not been aware of it. It's been happening, even without you kind of being conscious. And right now, if I asked you that, some of you are almost like, okay, I wanna give myself a test. How long am I gonna stay without blinking? And then all of a sudden you're blinking. You're aware that you are blinking. That has stepped into your consciousness. I'm aware now, I'm blinking. And you're probably gonna hold that idea of blinking for a few minutes until, as this voice, video continues, you're gonna let go of it. And something else is gonna come into your conscious awareness, which is the conversation we're having here. That's awareness. You are in a state of consciousness. I know. So when the voice comes and says, this is not your dream, what do? You become conscious when you hear it, when it hits you, wherever you are, in traffic, sleeping, working, whatever it is that you're doing, frustrated by the circumstances of your life. When it hits you, then you say, oh, I know. Benjamin told me about this. This voice has come to serve me. And therefore, I want to embrace it. So that's the first and most important thing. You see, in order for us to appreciate and embrace this voice, we need to know where this voice is coming from. This voice is not your voice. It's not you who's sweeping there, or you're driving an Uber, or you are this frustrated manager or CEO feeling that you are in the wrong career. This is not you. That voice is not your voice. Where is it coming from? Appreciate this, that we are tripartite beings. In other words, we are spirit. We've been gifted with an intellect, soul, and we live in a physical body. This is the image of me. This body carries my spirit, my soul. And it is this image is the one that you use to recognize me. But this is not me. This is my tent. This is the guy that carries me around. Who I am, my personality, my vibe, my energy, the person that I am, the person that you connect with is my spirit. It's my soul. That's who I am. And so realizing that this voice that comes to say, this is not my dream, that's not you. That is the voice of spirit. Now, you see, spirit bears the blueprint of your resources, of your potential, of your abilities, of who you were created to be. And so when spirit, the voice of more, comes in your life, it's looking at the blueprint of your life and seeing who you could be, what you should be doing, and what you should be having, and compares that with your life and says, this is not your dream. Come on, do something, get up, go for more. Yes, you could be living in a mansion, you could be, excelling in your career, you could be the, employee of the month, whatever that may be. You could be at the top, you could be what other people aspire to become. And yet spirit comes and tells you, this is not your dream. There is more. I've talked to you about the 16 transition points where spirit constantly came to me and said, this is not your dream. This is not your dream. This is not your dream. And I said, oh, I was not aware. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be aware that this voice has not come from you. This voice has not come from you. It has come from spirit. And it's bearing the blueprint of your greatness, of your resourcefulness, of the fortune, the genius within you, and the kind of impact you could have in the world, and the income you could have in the world. And it comes to say, there is more. Do more. Go for more. So to embrace this voice, you need to know that this voice is not coming from you. This voice is actually the voice of spirit. It's not your consciousness saying, I hate this job. No, it's a voice of spirit. And so back to that analogy, when spirit knocks on the door of your life and you open And he comes and says, you could be more, you could do more. Follow me. You better let him in and let him come and guide you through the journey. So awareness, state of consciousness of, hey, this voice has come to serve me. 2, this voice is the voice of spirit, bearing the blueprint of my greatness. Is an opportunity for you to then embrace it and say, okay, I hear you, and I want to follow you to where you are taking me. Embrace that voice, and awareness is the first step. You see, his voice comes to you as a blip, as a suggestion, blip, desire. I would love this. This would be great. This would be awesome. That's the way that voice comes to you. And it suggests to you. Come. Never banging your door down. No. Calmly knocking. Day after day. Day after day. And slowly this suggestion grows into a nag. And this nag grows into a holy discontentment. A holy anger. You're restless. You're irritable because you're being called out and you're ignoring it. I would encourage you this morning, embrace that voice. Know that it is here to serve you. Open the door. Open the door. Welcome it in. And say, how do we do this? Which takes us to the second requirement. The second requirement for you to embrace the voice of more in your life is you need to be willing and welcoming of it. Be willing. Be willing. Welcome it and be willing. Welcome it and be willing. Willing to do what? Willing to do whatever it asks of you. You see, this idea that the voice of more, spirit, is presenting to you is a foreign idea. It's completely new. When you look at your life and then you look at the idea that spirit is giving you, the voice of more, those ideas don't fit. How am I going to be paid $2,000 an hour? I'm making $90 a month. How? And when I look at the circumstances of my life, there's nothing here that fits with $2,000 an hour. There's nothing here that fits with being a coach, a speaker, and a trainer globally. There's nothing here that fits with that idea. So knowing that, hey, this idea will not fit with my current conditions and circumstances is the first step towards being willing and saying, okay, I don't get it. I have no idea how it's going to happen, but I'm willing. Show me. Help me. Welcome spirit. Welcome that voice. Embrace it. It's here to serve you. Welcome it and say, show me how. Show me how. I'm willing to learn. And that's why you need to suspend the need to know how. Suspend that need to know how. Suspend it. You don't need to say like, I have to figure it all out. It has to, all of it be perfect. No. Suspend the need to know how. But be willing and embrace it. I remember in 2002, in Kenya, we had these elections where we elected President Mwai Kibaki. And at that point in my life, what I did is I had a job to go and take these portraits that this guy who had just identified me as a young man ready and willing to do whatever he would, he gave me a job and he said, take these portraits and pass them around, sell them in different offices. We need to remove the portrait of the former President Moi and we need to put this portrait of the new President Mwai Kibaki. And I got all these portraits and I put them in a bag and I started to move around. Office to office, building to building, selling this for $4, $5, $8. And I did that because that's what I had at that point. But every time I sometimes clicked on the lift to go to the next floor, I heard that voice say, this is not my dream. This is not the idea that this is not how I saw my life panning out. That's just how I understood that voice. But I continued in that space. And in the willingness to go in that direction, what I was sensing is that I'm going to be a coach, I'm going to be a speaker, I'm going to be a trainer. And Spirit was recommending all these ideas even before I had the training, to be a speaker. And I just responded in the direction of that voice. I didn't know the things that I'm sharing with you now, but it just God helped, God helped me, and I moved in that direction, and I approached a gentleman who had a diocese, a crowd, and I said, I want to be a speaker, I want to be a coach, I want to be a trainer, and I started attending, meetings and gatherings that, were about coaching. Well, coaching was not a thing at that point, but being a speaker, being a trainer, standing in front of people, how do I do that? I started following and pursuing those ideas. And where I went, the job that I was given to start towards becoming a coach, a speaker, and a trainer, I was given a mop and a bucket, and they said, go arrange those chairs, and when you finish, sweep this hall, and then mop it. At that point, I should have been like, hey, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be a coach, a speaker, and a trainer. This is not what I came here for. I didn't come here for a mop and a bucket. But I took that, and I began the work. And I said, is this a suggestion you have for me? Is this the next step that you have for me? I didn't have the awareness to ask the questions I'm asking right now, but I just did it. And now that I'm looking back, I was like, yeah, I was so willing and welcoming of the next step that Spirit gave me and said, this is the path. I know you're going to find a way here. And yes, I did find a way, because very quickly, the people that are in that organization realized, wait a minute, this guy is sharp, this guy is bright, this guy can do more. And so they paid for my driving license, for my driver's course. And I went and I did a driver's course, and I became the personal assistant to the CEO of the organization. And hey, I got closer to him, and he began to mentor me. Do you see what's happening? I was placed on a path that could get me to where I need to go, where I am today. You listening to me, a coach, a speaker, a trainer on the global scale. But it looked like a mop and a bucket. Have you ever heard the quote that most of us despise opportunities because they come to us dressed in overalls? They look like work. They don't look like opportunities. They don't look like the stage. For me, it looked like a mop, a bucket, and some soap. Go wipe the floor, go do the cleaning. And that path was a path of being willing and welcoming. 5 years down the line, this voice comes again. Hey, this is not your dream. I didn't bring you here to kind of relax and enjoy. Get up, get up, get up. Go to school. How much does it cost to go to school? Thousands of dollars. How much am I earning? $35. I'm being paid on a petty cash voucher. But Spirit says, this is not your dream. Go to school. And as I'm willing and as I'm welcoming, he says, hey, tell you what, you're a graphic designer, aren't you? You're a creative guy, aren't you? Yeah, you've got that in you? Yeah, you go develop it. You remember some skills you picked up somewhere? Yeah, you go develop it. Start an advertising agency. And I started an advertising agency, and I started to talk to the clients that I knew. And Spirit comes and says, hey, I have an idea for you. Do you know transit advertising? These buses, this scrolling displays that are moving around, and they're going around and they're showing adverts. Yeah, you could bring that innovative idea. Yes. Oh, so how do I do that? He says, how much money do you have right now? $90 from my last salary. Yes. He said, go and buy a desktop, this CPU. Go and buy the CPU. So I bought the CPU and I brought it home, and I didn't have a monitor. Wow. The voice of more. But be willing and welcoming of what it says, because it's going to tell you, hey, go in that direction. So I bought this CPU, and I waited to earn some money from a public address system I had bought. You see, but my goodness, another day for this story, okay? Before I left employment and stepped into the place of business from a personal assistant into business, Spirit having said, hey, this is not your dream. What I did is I put some money together, and my mom supported me to buy a PA system, a public address system. So I was young, there were young people, and all these people are getting married. So they needed a public address system for their events. And so I was the guy who was there providing that PA system. And that was the Spirit's idea of, dude, you don't have a salary. You need to earn an income. So you're good at these sound business things. You take that. That's the next step for you. So I took that. And so that sustained me. And as I was getting these gigs, I bought a monitor, and I started to do design. Started to do design. I was having the mouse on my lap, yeah, and I had this monitor over here, and I had the CPU down, and I started to put some ideas together. And Spirit said, hey, you don't have 14 million Kenya shillings, 140,000 US dollars to set up one truck that has scrolling displays. What are you going to do? And he says, why don't you try advertising on buses? And that's when I pioneered bus advertising, transit advertising on bus. So if you ever saw the ads on the bus in Nairobi, on a City Hopper, on a KBS, different adverts were advertising different brands. If you ever saw those on the side of the bus, that was the idea. That was the idea that Spirit gave me and said, you don't have 140,000 US dollars, but you have a connection. Go, these guys have a bus, you have an idea, go sell this idea and make your money. And I got contracts and I got business opportunities and I took all that money and I put it in school and I got my degree and I got my master's and I say, okay, now comes the time for me to step into this space of coaching, speaking, and training. I had learned through the school of hard knocks, through life, running a business, being successful, growing it, and then saying, I want to step into that. Spirit comes and says, this is not your dream. And I begin to move into coaching. The whole idea of this story is this. I've always been willing and welcoming of the voice. Every time knock on my door, I open the door and say, what suggestion do you have for me? I'm willing. I welcome it. I embrace it, and I step in, and I do that which I'm being asked to do. You see, oftentimes, if we do not have the awareness that this voice is here to serve us, we quarrel with that voice. We don't collaborate with it. I did that in many times. I quarreled with the voice because the voice was leading me into risky land. The voice was telling me to go in the direction that appeared to me like I was going to lose everything that I had. But I was willing. I think maybe more guts than anything, I had more guts at that point. I mean, what do I have to lose? I'm a young man. And I stepped and I kept moving forward and I kept moving forward. And you need to learn how to work with this voice in your life. To embrace it, you've got to be aware. You've got to be aware that this voice has come to serve me. What are the other voices that are really loud in your life? Being willing and welcoming is knowing that this voice is probably the softest voice in my life. There are other louder voices of my cousins, of my uncles, of my aunties, of my parents, of my friends that are telling me this idea will not work. I faced those. Someone told me, how do you quit this job to just go and start a business? I mean, who's going to do billboard? What? They shot down all my ideas. Pow, 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 pow. They were really good at it. They shot them down. And it's because they really wanted, they meant well for me. And I know all those people who do tell me, don't do this. They mean well for me. They mean well for me. They don't want to see me hurt, crushed. They don't want to see me burn. They want to see me stay the way I am. Just at least stay like that, even if we don't know what we're going to do with you or for you. Stay like that. And so recognizing this voice, embracing it as the voice that has come to serve you, and then being willing and welcoming of whatever ideas it presents to you, with counsel, with coaching, with mentorship, with people to guide you. In the midst of that counsel, you will be making progress. You will be moving in the direction of what Spirit is saying is available and is more in your life. So accept it and be willing and welcome. Suspend the need to know how. Know that this idea doesn't fit with my current circumstances. I don't know how I'm going to do this. But that should not stop you. Don't wait until you have the perfection. All your ducks are in a row, like, oh, now I figured out how I'm going to make $2,000 in a month. No, you don't. My mentor, Paul Martinelli, says, at best, you are guessing. Whatever 2-year plan, 3-year plan you have, at best, you are guessing. Guess what happened the moment I left employment in 2007, actually. 2007, I quit employment in October, November. I just put in my resignation. I told my boss, I feel that it's time for me to get into the next step of my life. In the Kenyan, politics, we went into an election. And when we went into an election, for the Kenyans know what happened. The election was contested and there was, post-election violence. And for 6 months, the country was at a standstill. Talk about wrong timing. I leave my employment, no income. Then for 6 months, I'm trying to start a business. But tell you what, here I am, and I've got all these lessons, and I'd love to share them with you even more. I was willing, I was welcoming, and I just kept moving. I kept moving, and I kept moving, and I kept moving. At best, I was guessing that things are going to be great. I had a plan and everything, and then the world happens. Last year, COVID happened. This year, it's still happening. But keep following, be willing and welcoming, and walk with His voice. Let's get to the third requirement, the E. The E, evolve. Evolve. Evolve what? Evolve your thinking. Evolve your thinking. You see, where you are today is your departure point. Where you are today is your departure point. Where you're going, where Spirit is telling you there is more, this idea that has been dropped in your mind, this desire, this blip that's coming to you, whenever it's coming to you, it's telling you that you could be that, you could do more, you could have more. Where you are right now is your departure point. Where you're going, that destination, is your arrival point. The person who is departing from this departure point right now, you today, and the person who is at that arrival point on the other side, those are two different people. Those are two different people. And appreciating that this journey is going to require that I evolve in my thinking. I evolve in the way that I look at life, the perspectives that I have. You are where you are today because of the awareness that you are operating from in your life. You are where you are today because of the awareness you're operating from in your life. You see, the choices that you've made to this point in your life are a reflection of your current level of awareness. Choice is a function of awareness to the extent that you are aware. Remember, we talked about awareness is a state of consciousness, that which you know. From that point, you make your choices. And those choices produce the kind of life that you have today. And so understanding that you're going to have to evolve your thinking in order for you to arrive at that destination point is critical to embracing this voice of more in your life. After the awareness and then welcoming it, understand, you've got to go do the work. The person who was earning $90 a month and this person who earns $2,000 an hour, those are two different people. And I don't mean this to impress you, but to impress upon you that you have to grow. You have to shift your thinking. You have to shift in your beliefs. The patterns that have created the results that you have today, uncovering those, interrogating those, requires an evolving in your mind. The reactive tendencies that, the knee-jerk responses that you introduce to situations, you've got to evolve in that. We're in this amazing group with some amazing guys, and we're growing together. It's my growth journey for this year. It's an amazing mastermind. And someone just casually posted and said, hey, I just got a big deal. I just got a big deal. It's this much money. Wow, big coaching. Great stuff. And we were cheering them on. Amazing, amazing. And this other guy, my like-minded friend, amazing gentleman, he said, wow, the first one is always the hardest. And I said, oh, wait a minute. The first one is always the hardest. It's easy to believe that, isn't it? Yeah. I get it. Wow, that's your first. Whoa, big one. Amazing. I love that. Yeah. The first one is always the hardest. Do you hear the sound of that limiting belief? The first one is always the hardest. Why is it not that the first one is always the easiest? What is this What is this commitment that you have with struggle? What is this commitment that you have with clawing your way until you don't have any fingers and nails anymore to the destination where you're going to? What is that? And how does that manifest in your life? What are the other assumptions, thought patterns, beliefs that you hold on to dearly that will make you fight to stay where you are instead of fighting for where you want to go? Uncovering those is what I'm calling as evolving. You've got to evolve. Your thinking has to shift. Your awareness has to be raised. Right now, I've just raised your level of awareness when I've talked to you about that this voice is to be embraced. It's here to serve you. Be willing and welcoming. And then evolve your thinking. Evolve in your skills. I totally believe that you are resourced in every way. You don't need to be fixed. Nothing needs to be added to you. But you got to learn some things. There are things you got to learn. And as you go through this journey, you'll need to probably know how to do these videos. That for me was my learning journey. I didn't come here like, yeah, I know how to do this. It was easy for me because I'm gifted as a creative communicator. I'm learning. I'm in this journey. Every day I'm learning. How do I do that? Oh, I failed a couple of times. I'm learning. One of my big reasons for why I'm in the US right now as I do this broadcast for you is because I came to sit at the feet of a mentor, someone who's done what I want to do, someone who's achieved in a big way. And I say, I want you to teach me. I want you to teach me. I don't want to pay the price by making my own mistakes. I've done that a couple of times in my life. I'm tired of that. Where I just go make a mistake after mistake after mistake. There's a price. I'm paying a price. Time is a price. The cost, small costs here and there, that's a price. I'm paying a price of mistake. Oh, I'm so exhausted from that. And I said, you know what? There are two things. I either pay the price of all my mistakes and get there, I don't know when. So tired and frustrated, or I could pay to sit under the counsel of someone who is operating from a higher level of awareness. And they guide me and say, hey, watch out. There's a thought pattern here. There's a thought pattern here. There's a belief here. Does this serve you? Is this helping you go where you want to go? And they bring that to my awareness, and I'm like, oh yeah. Where have you been hiding? You've been blocking my way for all this time. There's a small price to pay, but I'm heading in that direction, and that is evolving in your thinking. You see, this is one thing that I believe about you, and I want you to hold this very strongly. I believe this about you. You are fully resourced. Let me say that again. You are fully resourced. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. And what is required is for you to understand how to tap that resourcefulness that is within you. You have it within you, but you're not aware where it is and how to tap into it. You're not aware. And that's why you need a coach who's going to come in through the coaching and guiding process. I will guide you through understanding how do I tap the resourcefulness that is within me. I say that you're not broken, and I want to say that again so that you embrace it, because if you look at the creation process, at no point did God release the beasts, the animals, the buffaloes and the elephants and the cows. He never released them. He never released them until he had created an enabling environment for them. The grass was already growing. You know, whatever they were going to eat, that was already there. The fish didn't come before the water. The waters, and then all the creatures that are in the sea. So how about you? You came at the point where everything, the ecosystem for you to thrive, was already present. So in what ways are you sitting there thinking there's something I'm waiting for that thing to be added to me, then I can go towards the direction of my dreams? No, that's a lie. That's not true. And that could be blocking you from stepping in. What I want you to do is, the next time you're hearing, or you probably have heard this is not my dream. Say yes, Embrace that voice. It's there to serve you. And then say, I'm willing and welcoming for it to happen the way I see it could be. And fight towards moving in that direction. Being aware of all these other voices. Keep moving and growing that voice and feeding that voice. And let it be stronger in your life. And then evolve. Be challenged. Oh, this is a challenge. Okay, I need to evolve. This needs to change. This needs to change. Those are the 3 requirements to embracing the voice of more in your life and moving in that direction. Now, I would like to work with you on this journey. I'm inviting you. The first thing that I want you to do is download the workbook. That's the first step. Download the workbook. It's loaded with questions, with a time for reflection, and really you going in and answering those questions on the 3 requirements: the awareness, the willingness and welcoming, and the evolving requirements. Take the workbook, go, just listen to yourself as you respond to those questions. Listen. That's the first step. The second step is I'm inviting you, and I'm going to send an email. For those of you who come and say, I want to take this journey, I want to, download this workbook, I'm going to be in touch with you. And together, we're going to start a journey that will get you towards the direction of manifesting that which is within you. The dream that you sense, that voice that's saying, hey, be more, do more. How do you bring it out? How do you become aware? Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. It will rule your life and you will call it fate. How do you make the unconscious conscious? I'm a pro at that. I'm going to help you do that. How do you become willing and welcoming? How do you take those coordinated steps? How do you have that thinking partner, that person in your life who is operating from a higher level of awareness, that has taken that path and is able to guide you through that journey? I'm going to be that for you. And how do you evolve? Interrogate beliefs, assumptions, limiting beliefs, patterns that have not served you, that are fighting to keep you where you are today. I'm that person for you to help you evolve through the awareness, through the willingness, and through the evolving journey that is required of you. But the first step is download the workbook and do the work. Reflect on those questions, because if you don't, you're not ready for me. You're not ready for me, and I'm not ready for you at that junction when you have done the assessment. So click the link that's being shared in the comments, download the workbook, do the work, do the reflections, and I'm going to meet you at step number 2 when we begin to unpack this journey of how do I make this dream a reality. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Even if we are coming to the end, they tell you what, click the share button. Did you get an idea that really served you? Yes. Click the share button. Let this go out there into the world. Someone needs to hear this message today. They're probably at the end. They don't know what else to do. They need to hear this message so that they can step into that dream which they sense is theirs. All right? I am so grateful that you took the time today out of your morning to sit with me and hear these ideas. Thank you. Embrace the voice of more in your life. Kamoya Benjamin, bye for now. Bless you and be well.